reach for something pure. Now tremble in doubt, I can't endure. A hollow vessel built from pain, cursed to walk through fire and rain. No salvation, no peace inside, only echoes of the self I hide. Born from ash, forged in shame. You can't kill what never had a name. I was never whole, only fragments stitched together by guilt, by fear, by the silence of forever. Drown me in the crimson mist, where guilt and madness coexist. The light I lost, I let it die, buried beneath the fractured sky. So tear me down in flame and steel, let the pain be all that's real. This ashen veil, my legacy, a soul unmade, no memory. In silence I dwell, a ghost beneath the skin. Eyes burned by truth, I bury deep within. The ash of my name still stains the earth. No rebirth, just a memory cursed. I scream through the static of fractured dreams, a shadow of man torn at the seams. Drown me in the crimson mist, where guilt and madness coexist. The light I lost, I let it die, buried beneath the fractured sky. These hands once reached for something pure, now tremble in doubt, I can't endure. A hollow vessel built from pain, cursed to walk through fire and rain. No salvation, no peace inside, only echoes of the self I hide. Born from ash, forged in shame. You can't kill what never had a name. I was never whole, only fragments stitched together by guilt, by fear, by the silence of Dover. Drown me in the crimson mist, where guilt and madness coexist. The light I lost, I let it die, buried beneath the fractured sky. So tear me down in flame and steel. Let the pain be all that's real. This ashen veil, my legacy. A soul unmade, no memory. In silence, I dwell.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight, the concrete jungle is open for business. Welcome to the Monster Mile at Dover Motor Speedway, where tempers rise, tires disappear, and one bad corner can end a championship caliber night in a heartbeat. Good evening, and everybody, welcome to the HPRL series from Dover, where survival is just as important as speed. The banking is brutal, the rhythm relentless, and drivers are about to spend the next couple hundred miles wrestling these trucks through one of the toughest tracks in sim racing. I'm Thaddeus Friel, alongside the man who somehow turns everything back to being 6'7", and attending the University of Alabama, Trevor Dyer. We've also got special guest Troy Sandy, breaking down the analytics. I got your name right. I almost got it wrong. And strategy all night long. And behind the scenes, keeping this whole train on its tracks, is our producer, active duty sailor, Skylar Daly. Trevor. Dover's one of those places where drivers either look like heroes or they look for the reset button. You have any thoughts on that?
Well, me as a driver, I don't get well too much with this track, so I think I'd tend to be one of the latter, but certainly a hard track that is. It's concrete all the way around, which is very abrasive to the individual tires on every vehicle, and so with that, this is going to be I mean, we talk about tire wear every single race. This is going to be the tire wear race. This last time I raced here in the trucks, I literally cut off a front right tire. So, I mean, tire wear is going to be huge here, and also it's a very tight and technical track. So we do expect to see quite a bit of drama here with it being so small coming onto the straightaways. It really bunches up the drivers, and so there's a lot of room for catastrophe that could be, but quite a lot of action coming up here on tonight, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, most definitely. And I will be looking forward to it because I'm actually racing in this. I love Dover. I saw it on the schedule and I was not going to pass up that opportunity. So I'm going to leave it to in the hands of young Trevor here and his chaperone, Troy. And, best of luck on the broadcast. I'll be listening as well as trying not to die. So y'all have a good race. These guys are really good. And I'll see you on the back end of it.
Thank you very
Sounds
much,
good.
Thaddeus. Good luck tonight. Maybe we'll pester him a little bit during the race. Trevor, concrete jungle. Everybody's gridding up. It's time to go racing at Dover. What do you say? Should we take a look at the starting lineup?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, in the top six, first off, we got Jesse Sperling on pole. We've actually already got a Jesse Sperling fan in chat. Shout out to Jesse on that poll. Second place is going to be Jason Baker. Third, Jared Mahone. Fourth, Caleb Sibbett. Fifth, Joshua Baker. And sixth, Derek Grigsby.
As we move to the 7th starting spot, we have Mickey Sundera, flanked by Seth Owens. P9 is not going to be the broadcaster. It's actually going to be Thaddeus Friel himself. And Emil Duna, P10. Patrick Schaefer starting P11 alongside Chris Griven, P12.
And rounding out the field, 13th place is going to be the one of Taylor Locklear. 14th is going to be Steve Whitmore. And 15th, Brett Vinson.
That's our starting lineup for the Dover 200 here this evening. A little bit smaller field. iRacing has thrown a little bit of a wrinkle for folks, so folks have been trying to get in here real quick. Interestingly enough, in our chat, we see Christopher Hockley out there. Last time the truck series for HPRL was at Dover was last season, season 4, and Christopher Hockley was the winner there, so we're guaranteed to have a new winner tonight. As we roll around under the pace lap, Trevor, push hard early or save for late in the run? You talked about tires earlier. How are you going to start this race?
Well, originally, judging on the first time I ran this track, I would opt to go fast early, but with the way that these trucks have developed and how small the field is, honestly, from the very first green flag, I'd be opting to save those tires, because once you get on to about lap 20, lap 30, you're really going to be regretting these early laps if you don't take care of them. So we'll look to see how drivers take that as the lights are out on the pace truck and, you know, are coming to be out. We're getting ready to get it going. What about you, Troy?
Yeah, so what I'm thinking right now is as we look into the start of this race, just less than a lap away, our current point standings. We talked about it 2 weeks ago, off week last week, 2 weeks ago at Texas. Jared Mahone winning the race, been Mr. Consistent all season long, currently our points leader. As we look farther down the field with a 15 truck field, who can make moves this evening, right? We're going from Jared Mahone to Mr. Jason Baker, Caleb Sibbett, Joshua Baker. What are we going to do as we go through Dover? 200 laps is a long time, mile-long track, fast laps. High banking suck you in. The speeds are going to get fast. The tires are going to get worn. In 200 laps, we're going to see who's holding up Miles the Monster Trophy. As the pace truck is bringing us around the corner. 15 trucks ready to do battle. The pace truck drops to the bottom. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, don't sit down. The HPRL Truck Series is back in town. We're going green from Dover.
Oh, you can see a lot of trucks squirrely already down into turn 1. Just still getting contested, but he's got it ahead there at Baker. There's a lot of too wide back down in the field. Still coming into turn 3. Actually, we have them challenging for second place there on the outside. We believe that's Caleb Sibbett and Jared Mahone following him through. This is getting shook up real early here. Actually, Sibbett's going. Ooh, I thought he was going to put there on Sperling. Still too wide, by the way. Since the beginning of the race, Mahone challenging Baker for third place there. It's getting tight. I mean, this field is really trying to sort its way out in these first laps. A lot of people are going to be looking at, you know, maybe we need to push early, maybe we don't. So these are the drivers just trying to filter themselves out to where they need to be.
Jesse Sperling still leads, got an early jump on the field. Jason Baker caught back up as we fall back and look at Caleb Sibbett, Derek Grigsby behind him. As the trucks are making around, we're starting to get a little bit more spread out. Most of the trucks have gravitated towards the bottom line. Again, early on in the race here, as people are still trying to feel it out, looking to go 3 wide as we go into the corner. Back 2 wide. Cooler heads have prevailed. The top 3 breaking away.
And it's a lot of single file up towards the front now, as you can see there. Ooh, actually Thaddeus going for an overtake right there. He's got his nose in. Oh, low! Oh, he gets squirrely. Gets up into... who is that? Oh, man. Unfortunate. Looked like that right
Early
tier.
caution here in Dover.
Just looked like that right rear let go. And that's another thing about this track. You can really get wound up, but you can get almost too wound up trying to go push for lap time, push for throttle, and the truck doesn't have it.
A little bit of loose. Looks like the 14 got caught up in the back of that wreck. The 51 of Mr. Schaefer. Early chance to take a deep breath here, Trevor. We just got a short little stint in right there. What are you thinking right now as you're trying to settle back in?
Well, I liked how we saw the people had actually started to calm down. Like, I mean, early on, you're restarting double wide, but what that does is give an opportunity to race somebody that you're directly beside. You've got to claim that position, and that's just racing. But as the laps wind on, you typically find people kind of slot in, say, hey, it's not worth chewing up the tire right now. And so we saw a lot of single file up there, and it was starting to filter down towards the back, and the overtakes were going to be a lot more thought out. So I do think that shakes it up, because now, I mean, we only had a few laps under green, but the tires are now hot. So that means that as this restart comes around, if you don't pit, then your tires, if you get drawn out into another battle for multiple laps on end, the tires are going to start to feel it on the back end. So, you know, I think this shakes up a little bit of strategy here.
Yeah, it definitely is going to shake things up here with some early cautions. Also, with a little bit smaller field, it'll be interesting to see when guys choose to use their quick repairs, right? Might be okay to take a little bit extra time to naturally repair your truck, potentially being only one or two trucks to go a lap down. Hope to gain those back through lucky dogs later on in the race, and not have to use those fast repairs. As we start to double back up here in the field, Trevor, what do you think about the fast repairs at this stage?
Well, we did see, I do believe that was the 51 of Schaefer that had the right front or left front damage, sorry, on his truck pretty bad. It looked like he had to take his fast repair, but throughout the rest of the field, I do believe that there were only 2 or 3 people involved in that incident, so it shouldn't really affect too many people, but I do know that, you know, we only see what we see on the broadcast, and it's really easy to get into the wall here. So there's a high possibility that somebody's going to go up, hit that wall, get some damage, and, you know, from there, you've got to pray for a caution, maybe try and get it taken under caution. If not, then, you know, you're going to have to burn up that fast repair and hope, A, you know, you have to better yourself, not do that again. You know, I've been guilty of it. But B, you can't get involved in a wreck like we just saw. Otherwise, that's going to take you completely out of the race. So I do believe people are going to have to be really conservative with them as we come back to green.
All right, we had just single filed out before that caution. We're back double file. We'll see how it goes. Trevor said we got to settle down. Jesse Sperling says, to heck with that. We're going back green, boys. And Sperling once again breaks out to an early lead heading into turn 1. Jason Baker following behind him. Caleb Sibbett running that high line, trying to make do 2 by 2 behind the leaders.
Still battling a lot back in the field. We have 2 by 3 truck links there. A lot of battling going on right now. People trying to sort themselves out. You can see a lot of people are trying to get to that back of the line and say, hey, I'm faster, and try and make a move, but there's no room for it. And so they have to wait for the person in front of them to go and sort themselves out. And you can see there the 3 of Seth Owens. He's kind of in that sandwich position. He can't go forward anywhere. The only lane choice he has is down low, and then he's going to have to slot in behind, I believe that's Mahone. But, you know, now that he's let things sort out, he can go ahead and start trying to work his own line.
As they look at working their own line, everybody's pretty much followed single file, except for Caleb Sibbett. As we look to the back of the pack here, plugging away, cranking laps. Thaddeus Friel got a little bit loose before that last caution. Mr. Schaefer back there as well as the one of Taylor Locklear, who had a good run a couple weeks ago. We move forward a little bit. We got Mickey Sundera and the 12 of Chris Griffin. Already got a shout out for Chris Griffin in the chat as well. Go Chris Griffin, I believe, is what I saw out there. Again, we're plugging away lap 13 of 200 here at Dover.
And as you say that, actually, Dalton Saprina, one of our league mates, is showing his support for Thaddeus. So we've certainly got a few people there in chat supporting their driver. If you want to support your driver, give them a little shout out on the broadcast. This is your moment. You know, go ahead and do so. But going back to the racing, we're still single file wide back in this pack. I don't see a single car that's poked out wide except for maybe a driver that's looking for a possible overtake. But you know, a lot of single file. People are really saving those tires, or at least attempting to. Or as you can see right there, I believe that's the 70 of Steve Whitmore, trying to close that gap to try and make that overtake there. But as of right now, everything is quote unquote calm, as you would say in the racing world. But you know, people really just sticking to their line right now.
Yeah, watch Steve Whitmore working on Derek Grigsby. Derek Grigsby pushing up the hill a little bit. He gets a great run out of the corner. You know, Trevor, one of the things we haven't talked about, the monster of this track, is really when we look at the exit of turn 2, right? These trucks really load up going through 1 and 2, and as they come off of 2, it's very easy to lose the rear end on this. Talk about how tough it is for these guys to hold the tires onto the track and keep that rear end underneath them if they come out of these corners.
So the thing about this track, there's a lot of banking, but there's a extremely aggressive transition back to the straightaways. So in the corners, you can go extremely fast, but once you hit that transition, what it does, it takes weight off the truck, and so you don't have as much grip coming out of the corners. And so if you don't have the weight set up right in your truck, then there's a high likelihood that Baker overtaking Sperling there for the lead. He slides up in front of him. He leads that lap. So lead change right there. But coming out of the corners, you have to be really careful on throttle. Otherwise, whenever you hit that transition, it upsets your vehicle. And this is really shown at Dover, but this is at any track. You can lose a right rear very easily coming over the crest of the hill, as you could say.
As we saw, Jason Baker overtook Jesse Sperling. Jesse Sperling on your screen here right now. Trevor, just like you said, coming out of the corner, Jason Baker was able to make it stick, get the grip, drive underneath Jesse Sperling, and now he's starting to put some lengths between him and second place. And then it's a little bit further back to Caleb Sibbett in third. So these top 3 starting to string out as we still go single file. Lap 21 of 200 here at Dover.
Yes, sir. And so we're lap 21 right now. We're starting to get somewhat close to the safety, and what that does, the top 10 they get points. So these stages are really helpful for those that are looking to get points. Maybe the wins aren't your thing, but you can consistently stack up stage points throughout the season, and it shows there at the end. You can move up a lot of places just by counting your stage points, penny pinching them, if you will, and, you know, having them in your back pocket. And what it can do, it can take, you know, a driver and boost where they would be outright. So this stage coming up, it's going to be crucial for a lot of drivers, as it is every single week, to get those points. So we're going to see a lot of people I know that every week I say it's 3 races. You've got the first race that we're watching now. Then you got stage number 2, that's your second race. And then stage 3, the race for the actual race. So we're going to see that a lot here. I mean, we just saw a pass for the lead there. And then stage number 2, I do believe is going to be just as aggressive. And stage number 3, it's going to sort of calm down a little bit because people have a lot longer to go, but still aggressive there.
As we watch this battle for second place, great battle going on here. We're wrapping around. We got Caleb Sibbett here, Jesse Sperling, Jared Mahone. Again, Jared Mahone winner 2 weeks ago. First stage break coming up at lap 40, so we're about 15 laps away from that first stage break. As Jared Mahone gets underneath Caleb Sibbett, starting to plug away. Again, we called him Mr. Consistent 2 weeks ago. Coming into this race, he's finished all but 2 laps of the season. That's the consistency we're talking about. When we talk about tire wear, consistency go hand in hand. Right now, though, we don't even see the leader on our screen. Jason Baker is so far out in front. We've got this battle that's raging back here, but he's just clicking away laps one by one. We see him even see lap traffic coming ahead of him. Such a strong run here in stage 1 at Dover.
Yes, sir. And see, that is something that you don't see a whole bunch. I mean, we're back looking at the pack, but if you go and look over at your timing and scoring, you will see Jason Baker. He's got a 2.2 second lead on second place, Jared Mahone. And the thing is, Jared Mahone is not slow. I mean, we've seen him throughout the season. Very fast driver, very consistent. Jason Baker, he is on a really good run tonight, so just wanted to shout that out. But it does look like the battling for second place has somewhat actually calmed down a little bit. As you can see, 5-10 gap between Sibbett and Mahone. We're back looking at Seth Owens actually for the battle for fourth. Very aggressive. We see Seth Owens, Derek Grigsby, Joshua Baker. Sorry, not Derek Grigsby. I was looking at the wrong thing. But battling out for fourth place here, you know, as we get down 10 laps to go to stage number 2, or stage number 1, sorry.
Yeah, great battle. Jesse Sperling led early, pole sitter, dropped back to fourth now. Seth Owens behind him. They might be battling a little bit extra hard, Trevor. There's some word out there that there might only be stage points for the top 5 tonight, given the field size. So this right here could be the battle coming down to the stage 1 break. As we're looking back at the 2 of Mickey Sundera, we're looking back at Joshua Baker in the 58, Steve Whitmore, Derek Grigsby, all right there. Chris Griffin hanging around. That's the back of the top 10 right there, but they're all within striking distance of the top 5. If top 5 is indeed the stage points of this race, this is going to be the battle to watch. Who's going to come away with points and who's going to be left on the outside looking in? As Seth Owens is side by side with Jesse Sperling. Is he going to take the spot going into the corner? He's going to get the run. He's going to bring Mickey Sundera with him. This could shake up our top 5 as we're wrapping up lap number 32.
Mickey Sundera still there on the bottom. He's word in that there is a crash. Looking back and see Thaddeus Friel there through turn 1.
To the 8-truck here, gets spun to the inside hard into the wall.
Just a tiny bit of contact, and as I was saying earlier, where it's got the least weight on the truck, I mean, that is the worst place to be rear-ended. And as you can see, it doesn't take much, but it can have very, very drastic effects on your race.
Yeah, just coming out of that corner. It doesn't take much, like you said.
Looks like he was almost already a little bit loose. but he has taken his fast repair. He's back going. Looks like we've actually got some takers on the pit row here, Troy.
Yeah, we have some takers coming down pit road. Maybe looking to get that stage flip here early. Maybe get track position heading into stage 2. You see Jason Baker there rolling by. Jared Mahone's in the pit area as well. Mickey Sundera, Jesse Sperling. A lot of takers outside the leaders. Tough spot to be in front. Everybody's going to do what you decide not to do. But that does give Caleb Sibbett the lead here. Maybe a little strategy play, try to squeak out a few extra points by staying out, gain a couple track positions. Good long green flag run there, Trevor. What are you thinking about your tires at this point in time?
Well, I was actually going to say Sibbett and Baker. This is a very risky strategy call, staying out after we've just ran 35 laps. And so that's 35 laps of more rubber that the people behind you are going to have. So it's going to be really hard keeping those people behind you, but it could really play off for, as they actually come into pit. It appears that they missed the pit, Caleb Sibbett and Emil Duna, the first go round. So actually everybody's going to come into pit this go round. It would be really tricky to keep the entire field behind you when everybody has rubber, but it is possible to do.
Yeah, it's a tough spot to be. If you stayed out intentionally and you see everybody go, you might have thought better of it. If you missed it, it's an unfortunate situation to be in. But topping off, getting those fresh tires, reset, take a deep breath. Still a long way to go. We're only on lap 36 of 200 here at Dover. A lot more excitement still to come our way. Have a little bit of a shootout here to the stage break, Trevor. How hard are you going to push it? Are you going to push it hard, or are you going to try to save a little bit and not pit before stage 2?
Honestly, it depends on how I'm feeling. So if I'm Mahone, yeah, I'm 10 times out of 10, I'm going for it. I know I've got fast truck. You know, I'm gonna have to go for it. If I'm a little bit further back, then I might try and save a little bit more. If I'm not thinking, you know, hey, it's gonna be hard for me to get up there to get those stage points, I'm just gonna save my tires and try and get them on the back end on into stage number 2.
All right, it's going to be interesting here. Joshua Baker up front with Jared Mahone. Going to see Jason Baker. You're going to see two different strategies playing out here as we get going on this restart. Lights are off on the pace truck. Field is pacing around. Time to settle back in. Nice little 3-lap shootout to the stage 1 break.
And this gives me a great opportunity. Those of you watching at home, maybe you've got a favorite driver, maybe you've got a question, maybe you just want to throw in a comment, make us laugh, and everybody else on the stream. Go ahead and shout it out in the comments. You know, I'll be sitting here reading it, and we can get you in at the stage break.
Gold star for anybody that can make Trevor laugh on the air. That's what we go for here. As the pace truck brings us around. Again, 3-lap shootout here to end stage 1. Jason Baker, Jared Mahone, Seth Owens, Mickey Sundera, top 4, leading us back to the restart. The pace truck is off. Field is coming out of turn 4. It's stage 1 shootout time. Here we go. Baker jumping out to the early lead in front of Mahone. Seth Owens in tow, Mickey Sundera behind them. The top 4 single file, 2x2 after that as they come out of turn 2 onto the back stretch. Everybody fresh tires, feels like Superman as they dive off into turn number 3. Coming onto the front stretch, single file. Joshua Baker moving up. Chris Griffin, here we go. It's pay window time in stage 1, Trevor.
Yes, sir, it is. And coming to the white flag, I do believe, of stage number 1, You can see a lot of single file already, but you can tell that they're pushing real hard. If you look towards the front, you're seeing Seth Owens, you're seeing Baker's, both of them trying to kind of get their own line, you know, as opposed to the people in front or behind of them, trying to get that extra bit of speed, as I do believe that is Joshua Baker going on the outside of Seth Owens, trying to get that extra stage point as we are coming to stage.
Field driving through, just completed lap 40. Every single file. Jason Baker still out in front. As we're on lap 42, Jason Baker just set the fastest lap of the session. Jared Mahone, a few truck lengths behind him. Word we're getting back is the last caution may have been considered the stage, so we're still under green here. Trevor, if you were banking on the caution there, time to get back on it. Go chase him down. Jared Mahone trying to track down Jason Baker.
Yes, sir. So, you know, that really throws a wrench in a lot of people's strategy. Well, it would for me because I wouldn't have realized, but Mahone still got 4/10, almost 3/10 gap to Baker there. This is going to be a battle of who can save the most tire while still going fast. And it appears that Baker, that is Jason Baker, is able to get a lot of speed. We'll see how that affects his tires in the long run, but Mahone's still able to just barely keep up. Maybe that's a strategy call, but you can see the rest of the field here is saving their tires now. I mean, a lot of single file, a lot of people, you know, staying close, but maybe not actively engaged in a battle. So that's going to be huge for the later parts of their run. So, I mean, you can see a huge gap between third and fourth. That's more than a second. I believe that's 1.3 maybe between third and fourth. These top three have completely drove away from a lot of the field. So that's going to be huge for the people that's a little further on back. Maybe they're really trying to bank on that tire strategy, but it's going to be hard to come back from the second gap under green flag racing, even with better tires.
Yeah, Joshua Baker just worked his way around Jared Mahone, as you saw. Jared Mahone got squeezed out of the Baker brothers sandwich. As we go back a little bit farther in the field, see the 51 of Patrick Schaefer on the high side. 29 down low with Jesse Sperling. Remember, Jesse Sperling started on pole for this race, faded a little bit in stage one, now trying to work his way back up through the field. Schaefer looking pretty strong on that high side. How long can he hang on up on the high side there, Trevor?
About 6 to 7 laps is about how much truck has in it before it completely dies on that top side.
All right, so 6-7 is about the length, and it looks like it panned out just about that way as Schaefer dropped back single file. In a second here, we'll get an in-car shot. I think one of the cool things about Dover is the unique layout of the track. And you heard Trevor talk about it earlier. You actually drive up and over a hump as you head into the corner, and then it feels like you're dropping into a valley, and you have to drive back up out of the corner. So it's a very unique track here. As we jump on board with Jason Baker, our leader, you're going to see this here. Trevor, walk us through a lap from Jason Baker's point of view.
So coming into, this is turn number 3, you have to really get into the brakes, trail brake a lot, and that's helping the truck rotate before the truck comes back down the hill. You're full throttle coming through the front stretch down to turn 1. You have to drop in extremely late, carry that speed, you know, shift that weight, get the truck to rotate, and as soon as it comes back down the hill into turn number 2, you're back full throttle for the backstretch.
A very unique track, a lot of speed, like I said earlier, going into those corners. Naturally, Trevor, like you said, you kind of want to let up as you hit the hill. Like that's what it feels natural, but you do have to drive up and over to drop into that valley. So, you know, when we talk about these trucks really loading the tires in the corner and then releasing that coming out of the corners. That's what it feels like to be in these trucks. You're like on a roller coaster as you drive around this high-speed 1 mile track here in Dover, Delaware. Again, Jason Baker continues to lead, Joshua Baker in tow, Jared Mahone running third, Seth Owens in fourth, Mickey Sundera in fifth, Chris Griffin, Derek Grigsby, Jesse Sperling, Patrick Schaefer, Caleb Sibbett, Taylor Lockyer, Brett Vinson, Steve Whitmore, Thaddeus Friel, and Emil Duna rounding out your field here at Dover as we're on lap number 53.
So you can see Caleb Sibbett over there on the bottom, overtaking for 9th place. He's within the top 10 now. I would imagine he's going to be following Sperling up ahead, and they're going to try and work through this field. Both of them, I mean, Sperling literally set the pole, so they have pace. I'm going to keep tabs on them and see how they go through the field. But looking a little further ahead, you got Derek. Yeah, I mean, he's gained 2/10 within 1 lap on, I believe that's Sperling. So, I mean, Sibbett is actually already on Sperling. That is a interesting turn of events. I'd imagine them to start battling here soon with Sibbett having such a pace advantage on Sperling at the moment, but everything's fluid. Could go the other way, but I'd imagine them start battling. It looks like Sibbett's actually taken a little bit higher of the line, which is going to burn a little bit extra tire, but it does give you a really good drive off. So that's going to be a difference in lines there. As you can see, Sperling's taking the high line. Sibbett, he's wrapping that bottom, trying to get that truck as low as possible. And the way that iRacing actually models
look at this. Jared Mahone moving underneath Joshua Baker, coming back. He's putting himself in the middle of that Baker Brothers sandwich again. New P2 runner in Jared Mahone. Mahone taking P2, heading into the corner. Now sets his sight on Jason Baker. Everybody going. You know, Trevor, you were just talking about Caleb Sibbett. He was leading during that last caution, had to pit late for whatever reason. So we know he's been fast, working his way back up. How much does he have to save his tires at this point, right? 95 is the stage break here, so we still got a few laps to go, aka just under 40 laps to go for this stage. How much does he want to press to get back up to the front where he was earlier versus how much does he need to save with that much to go still in stage 2 here?
So he definitely needs to be saving a good little bit for him to be able to get his way on up there by the end. But at the same time, with the pace that he's running, he will be there by the end of the stage. If he can keep this pace up, I mean, obviously the lap times are going to drop as the tires wear, but if he can keep the same consistent pace up, he should be able to pick up a few spots. So I do think he's running a good pace. It's just going to be a matter of, is he getting this pace because he's wearing his truck out, or is he getting this pace because he's figured it out? So, you know, if he's got this figured out, then I'd expect to see him up there by the end of it. Oh, as Sperling is getting overtaken by Sibbett, Sibbett goes through. He's by turn number 4, he was already there by Sperling. So we've seen them kind of flip-flop positions there. Sibbett up to 8th place, looking ahead. He's got about a 5/10 gap between him and Grigsby, but I'd imagine he's going to be able to truck along and keep going. I mean, he's shown incredible speed as the laps have started coming on.
Walking away here at stage number 2 at Dover. Caleb Sibbett trying to work his way back up to the front. Derek Grigsby is the next in sight. Up front is still Jason Baker. Jared Mahone got that gap down to about half a second. That's about 2/10 off where they were 5 laps ago. So very slowly, Jared Mahone has been reeling back in Jason Baker. Jason Baker, though, still comfortable with that half-second plus lead currently. We'll see how they dial it in. They've got a pretty good gap, another 1.4 seconds, 1.5 seconds back to Joshua Baker. who was up there in P2 not too long ago. So we're starting to see some of that tire wear come into play, Trevor. A little moving and shaking, field strung up, but we're still seeing moves. We're still seeing guys trying to make passes, advance their positions as we go around here. Trevor, at what point in time during this stage do you worry about becoming washed and not having the speed that you had before?
Well, they do call me the washed one. So, thank you, Bobby, by the way. Yeah, I am washed. So as you get down into the run, you can burn off tires and become like me, washed. And then also looking back at chat, Mahone was their pick for tonight. Mahone's actually still at that same gap from Baker as he started stage number 2. So he's looking really good. Maybe he's kind of watching his pace, kind of pacing himself off of Baker there. I do believe that is Jason. So, he's in a really good spot. He's obviously got a 2-second gap between him and third place. So he's really setting himself up in a good spot to start stage number 3 for that long run to the end, which, by the way, the long run without cautions should have a green flag pit stop in it. So, give himself as good a spot to go for that green flag pit stop, which let the green flag out.
As we look on at the P3, P4, P5 battle here of Joshua Baker, Seth Owens, and Mickey Sundera. While Trevor was talking about being washed, Caleb Stivitt did the wash, rinse, repeat on Derek Grigsby and took over that position we were watching just a little bit ago. But here, as we look at the top 5 battle, 3rd through 5th, again, single file. Doesn't mean that they're not pushing hard, though, right? They're really trying to set one another up. They're clicking off the laps. They're trying to nurse the tires, but at the same time, they're watching that gap. Yes, they know that they have a stage break coming up, but they really are still hanging on as we ride on board with Mickey Sundera here. This is a great view. The 24 degrees of banking in the corners at Dover. There's still 9 degrees of banking on the front stretch. Most people don't realize just how banked this track is. And that's those G-forces that you're carrying around here. Combined with the roller coaster ride, this is one exciting track to drive. Oh, and by the way, it's one of 2 all-concrete track surfaces, Trevor, so we don't see this surface that much throughout the course of the season.
See, that is something that's very uncommon for NASCAR. This is a very old track, and so historically, there used to be a lot of concrete tracks, not so much anymore, but what that does make it harder on the drivers. With the new tarmac that they've put in a lot of the NASCAR tracks, they've really helped the longevity of the tire itself, but these concrete tracks have really cut that tire wear in half. As you can see, for crying out loud, 3-second gaps don't appear out of it. So I do think the concrete has impacted.
Nicknames in this track, we're going to call them the concracks to shorten up the concrete tracks. As we saw Taylor Locklear make the pass on the 51 of Patrick Schaefer. We start to see Thaddeus Friel hanging around out there, trying to get back in the gap. Seth Owens just side by side with Mickey Sundera. Mickey Sundera moving up to P4. Seth Owens looking to come back at him here. Things are starting to heat up. Tires are starting to come and go a little bit as they're moving, they're shaking. Lap number 74 here. As we continue to watch this battle for P4. Again, settled in single file, but like we were just talking about, it doesn't stay single file for long. As soon as somebody feels like they can make a move, they dive on in. Mickey Sundera, winner at Pocono, really looking to dial things in here, come back strong at Dover. A little bit different feel of a track, but as much pushing, as many points as we can get here as we're clicking away stage 2, about 20 laps away from the end of stage 2. Again, lap 95 should be the stage break as we're driving around towards 200 laps here at Dover.
And funny thing you say, 20 laps to go, only 20 laps to go. 20 laps is actually what I initially said was when you're going to start feeling the tire wear. So, we've already ticked off 20 laps a while ago. These guys have got to be hurting for tire wear. As you see, actually, somebody's get a little loose there.
Jesse
believe
Sperling
that
loose
is
underneath Steve Whitmore.
Jesse
Yeah.
Sperling. You know, so I mean, these guys are already feeling the tire wear. This is the stage of the race where I mean, the driving, I'm not going to say that the driving sucks. It's just really hard. And so we're going to start seeing drivers here sort of reach into their tool bag and start pulling out all the tools they can so that they can keep it going. Because if not, I mean, you'll start seeing Jesse Sperling again getting loose. And, you know, that's exactly what I'm talking about with these drivers managing their tire wear. Because, I mean, as you can see, Jesse Sperling loose twice in one lap, in the span of one lap. You know, his right rear is really burning. And so, you know, it's going to be hard to get that tire back under control.
As we watch the battle back here a little bit farther field, Chris Griffin on the high side, Steve Whitmore now looking underneath the low side again. You see that high line, people getting loose up there as Jesse Sperling now makes the move underneath. Trevor, the high line, do you chase it up there to try to keep the truck and keep momentum, or are you better off backing up the corner and just rolling that bottom a little bit slower? Because it seems like everybody that's hitting the high line is really starting to get loose as we start to watch the battle here as Mickey Sandera has caught Joshua Baker for P3.
So the thing about the high line, you can get incredible momentum off of it. And so you'll see here, let's see, Joshua Baker did get the momentum on Sandera there.
You got a caution.
Corner, although, caution, never mind. This is stage.
Right, this is stage. All right, that's a stage break. I'm off of my numbers. I can't count to 6 or 7, Trevor, so that wraps up a stage. The guys that were banking on tires, their tires are screaming. They're probably really happy to see that caution right now.
Yes, sir, they are. You know, and so I don't think that this miscalculation of the numbers was necessarily bad for the drivers, because I mean, we saw a lot of people hurt for that right rear tire, and so this will give them opportunity to, you know, a little R&D and be able to get back out there. But as we come to stage, I am going to do a little trivia segment for y'all to ponder on as we are pitting right now. So Dover, Delaware. This track was founded at what was the date where this track was founded? And then also, what is the nickname for this track? We've already spilled one of the trivia facts that this is one of 2 concrete tracks, but I'll give y'all a caution to think about what the answers are to that.
Great trivia question. We'll see who weighs in on the chat here. See who gets it right. You'll get a special shout out. Interestingly enough, while we're trying to figure out those trivia questions, Dover was originally a horse track. So it was originally founded as a horse racing track. Now we're doing horsepower here, although there is still a horse track nearby, a harness track. So some interesting facts on the state of Dover. We got one person weighing in, a driver that's just not able to be with us tonight, calling it the Monster Mile. Trevor, is that one of our answers?
Yes, sir, I do believe it is. Yes, sir, it is the Monster Mile, but what was the date that this track was built? That is the other one.
Mr. Hockley, congratulations on the Monster Mile. I would expect that you should be able to find out the date that it was established. No pressure. All right, well, we're waiting to see if anybody gets that one right. We're going to reset here under caution after the stage break. I got Jason Baker, Jared Mahone, Joshua Baker, Mickey Sandera, Seth Owens, Taylor Locklear, Caleb Sibbett, Derek Grigsby, Patrick Schaefer, Jesse Sperling, Brett Vinson, Steve Whitmore, Thaddeus Friel, Chris Griffin, and Emil Duna is your field as we get ready to reset. Trevor, do we have an answer on the first part of the trivia question?
Yes, sir, we do. So the first race was in 1969, Richard Petty won. Not sure when it was built. I'll take that answer. It was built actually in October 1967. So that's when the groundbreaking started. So funny enough for that trivia question, but congratulations to Tony Sibbett and all the other people that answered for that. I believe that's Kristen Tollison, Hawk Digital Gaming, and obviously that's Christopher Cochran at Duke.
The biggest trivia question of all as we go back to green flag racing is who's going to be victorious at the end of 200 laps here at Dover. Field is back under pace. The Baker brothers running up front again. Joshua Baker going around the high side, making it work. Maybe Jason give him a chance to lead a lap. Jared Mahone, Mickey Sandera, Seth Owens in tow for your top 5. Once again, the leader gets a breakaway. Joshua Baker out in front. Jason Baker got a mirror full of Jared Mahone behind him, slicing and dicing high side, low side, all around as we continue to roll around on lap number 86 here at Dover.
And you can see actually a little bit of a bobble there from, I believe that is Sonodara there before off of the corner of number 2. So you can tell already these drivers are pushing, trying to get, caution comes out. And we will get a replay up on that. That is Jesse Sperling with a hurt truck there.
Watch the replay. He looks to the low side. Oh! Looks like Taylor Locklear just got a little bit loose. They got together coming out of the corner. And Trevor, you talked about it a little bit earlier. It's one of the hardest spots. The truck's the most vulnerable right here. So we're riding on board. Oh! Slight bobble. Sperling coming up to try to take full momentum. And they just come together in the middle. Such a tough break for both of them. Early enough in the stage, hopefully, Trevor, that they can still bounce back from that as well.
Hopefully so. I mean, this is the longest stage, but we've seen a lot of things happen here on Van Broadcasting. But yeah, that's what I was talking about with how the corners come together. And so the straightaways are pretty tight. As you've got really, really wide corners, probably enough for 4 wide racing at some points. But, I mean, the track condenses down to 3 wide at most. So it's really hard to navigate that sometimes. As we've actually do count 4 people in pits.
Well, Trevor, while we have some trucks in pit road, it's a great chance for us to make a quick call out. Since you're always out here representing the University of Alabama and the altitude statistics, Veterans and Affiliated Network is representing something a whole lot bigger. Real support, real community, and real people helping each other when it matters most. That's why we're proud to have active duty sailor Skylar Daly helping lead this production tonight. Thank you, Skylar. And proud to support organizations that continue looking out for veterans and military families on and off the track. From the garage area to the broadcast booth, Veterans and Affiliated Network reminds us that teamwork doesn't stop when the uniform comes off.
And actually, looking over at the track, we actually did get corrected. It wasn't concrete until 1995. So originally this track was an asphalt track. So they called our bluff and called us out, but hey, I'll take it, you know. Oh God, oh God. Somebody help me. There's a War Eagle fan in the chat. Brett Vincent.
I'm pretty sure that's somebody that's actually behind the wheel or supposed to be behind the wheel at the same time. But we won't talk about texting and driving. You know, as we get ready to restack here at Dover, yeah, Brett Vincent, there you go, just rolling around under caution, throwing things out to Trevor. For all of those folks that heckle Trevor, my great appreciation to you. Not as much as our veterans and military members, but it's up there. I appreciate what you guys are doing. You know, we're about halfway through this race, Trevor. Still a ways to go. We've seen a lot of slipping and sliding. Now strategy is going to come into play. You talked about it earlier, the long run. We're going to have stops. People are going to have to decide what to do. What are you thinking here as we're just approaching shy of halfway in this race?
So right now, as a driver, honestly, I tend to do, you know, I'm really hit or miss with green flag pit stops. So green flag pit stops are going to make or break this race. If you have a slow pit stop, it's going to kill you in the long run. So right now as a driver, I would be already having in my mind kind of how I want to take this pit stop, as I do believe that was a slip up on the leader. He actually crossed over to the high line. Thankfully he was clear, but I do believe, you know, I don't know how the HPRL does their penalties, but that could be a potential restart penalty there for crossing over to the high line before the start-finish line.
Yeah, as we're back at our green flag here, Joshua Baker's just going to pretend he can't see or hear anything in case there is a flag. But in the meantime, Mickey Sundera, Seth Owens battling back here. That's a battle for P4. Seth Owens takes it on the high side. Sight set on Jared Mahone now. Jared Mahone dropped back a little bit from Jason Baker, maybe buying his time, saving some tires like we talked about. All I know, Trevor, is this is a monster of a race, a monster of a field here, a lot of talented drivers. I'm not going to count out anybody just because they're not in the front of this field at this point in time. I think there's still a lot more moving and shaking to go. I think people are holding something back, relaxing a little bit, saving those tires like you talked about, and really focusing on mounting that run after their last stop. Now, the question is going to be, when do you take that last stop? Do you wait for a caution, play it safe? Do you go as soon as your fuel window opens, but it might cost you on tires? What are you going to do as Mickey Sundera getting a big run down the straightaway here? You see Jared Mahone falling back, going to give up a spot here potentially to Caleb Sibbett. Caleb Sibbett around the high side. Derek Grigsby in tow. All of a sudden, things are starting to shake up.
So you can see Mahone, he was running P2 last stage. He obviously shown a lot of pace, but I do think that the way that he's driving, he already knows how far he's got to make this truck go. So potentially we could see an overcut out of Jared Mahone.
Hard into the wall.
Still waiting
Down
for
the
caution.
apron. Steve Patrick Schaefer just get loose coming out of the corner, turns across the nose of the 8 truck. Oh, tough break. Again, Trevor, like we've talked about all night, as we watch it here again, a little bit loose coming out of that corner, trying to gather it up right across the nose of Thaddeus Friel.
And I'm sensing a little bit of deja vu because those two actually got tied up a little earlier on in the race. So they're finding their way back around each other. Oh, it just looked like a little bit of a slip up on his tire, and I mean, just nowhere to go, really. I mean, but we are still green. It is lap 98. They still have been racing and taking things up. But, you know, going back to what I was saying, we could potentially see a overcut out of Jared Mahone, which is basically just staying out there as long as you humanly can do it and trying to make up the time with a later pit stop. You'll have fresher tires as you run to the end, and you'll be able to practically make up all your time on the back end of your stint. So, you know, but then there's also the people that could be pushing as hard as humanly possible right now. As you can see, Baker, I believe that's Joshua Baker, actually has a 2.5 lead on Jason Baker right now. So what he could be doing is pushing his truck as hard as possible, try and make it go as much as possible. And as soon as the pit window open, him go in, take his pit stop. He'll cycle out about a lap down, but by the end of his run, once everybody else pits, he'll actually be able to get his lap back. And so essentially he'll be able to push really hard right now, get a huge lead, you know, in a perfect world that is, get a huge lead, come in, pit, and then all he has to do is just make the truck go to the finish, and he'll already have created himself the gap that he needs to win this race. So, I mean, those are two extreme scenarios, and then usually the correct answer is somewhere in the middle, but, you know, those are the differing strategies that every driver has to pick for themselves for this race. So, you know, everyone is tailored to, you know, the driver's unique abilities, and so we'll see how it cycles out for everybody.
Just as Trevor talks about running out to a lead, Jason Baker has cut the 1.5 second lead to brother Joshua Baker in half. Less than half now, almost down to half a second. Joshua Baker might have used up a little too much too soon. Maybe he's laying off now. Maybe he's listening to the broadcast and Trevor's giving him coaching through the radio. Maybe he simply has just rolled that tide as far as it can go, and it's time that everybody else catches up. We're about to find out as we continue on here. Lap 104 out of 200, excuse me, 105 now out of 200 at Dover. The Baker brothers out in front. Seth Owens running third. Mickey Sundera in fourth. Caleb Sibbett in fifth. Derek Grigsby sixth. Jared Mahone seventh. Thaddeus Friel 8th. Chris Griffin in 9th. Jesse Sperling in 10th. Brett Vinson in 11th. Steve Whitmore 12th. Taylor Locklear in 13th. Emil Duna 14th. And Patrick Schaefer in the pits after that unfortunate turn of events coming out of the corner a few laps ago. As here we go. Battle for the lead, Trevor.
Yes, sir. And Jason Baker battling out with Joshua Baker. Jason on the inside going for the lead. He says, I'm sorry, brother, but my time is now. And still battling it out more as we go into another lap. They've been side by side for an entire lap now. And Jason Baker actually gets out ahead, but Joshua Baker still on his tail. We could see a counter move as Jason goes by, and you know, he's off into the sunset metaphorically, could be at least. But as we've got that sorted, I'd also like to look over towards the chat mid-race and say thank you, Mr. Hockley. Appreciate if it wasn't for y'all, we couldn't put these on. And then also we have a special shout out besides the roll tide from Mr. Greg Dyer. Sperling's dad was actually a veteran. So shout out to Sperling's dad. Thank you for your service, sir. And as Greg Dyer also appreciates his service as well.
And on the track, Caleb Sibbett just served up a pass on Seth Owens. So Caleb Sibbett has moved up to P4. He's now got his sights set on Mickey Sundera, as Mickey Sundera is starting to close the gap on Joshua Baker. Trevor, we were just talking about it. He can push it early, but is he going to pay the price late? It's starting to look like those tires might be starting to fall off as the pack is starting to reel him back in. Jason Baker, he's now out to a 1.3 second lead. Look at that lead as he comes out of the corner. He's gapped his brother after he made the pass just a few laps ago. And now, Mickey Sundera dialing it in on Joshua Baker. Caleb Sibbett in tow. Seth Owens, again, just fell back a spot, but still right there. After those front five, we get a little bit of a gap. But out front, it's all Jason Baker.
And see, that is the risk you run by burning the tires off of your truck, you know. Not saying maybe he didn't mean to, you know, it could be unintentional, it could be intentional, but this is the risk you run whenever, anytime you try and push your truck, is because it could hurt you potentially on the back end. And we're seeing that now as, you know, Jason Baker, he is just completely run away. It's almost a 2 second gap now. I mean, the more we talk, the more the gap expands. And see, we've got a good pack of drivers, coming up to go challenge Joshua Baker, as they're now 2/10 off. Sonadara is. I'm starting to really question, how hard is Jason Baker pushing at this point? I mean, I guess it's always going to be the, questioning the leader that has a 2-second gap, but, it really brings the question up of, what is the strategy like, as we see Sonadara on the tailgate of Joshua Baker as he looks down low. Oh, Baker cuts him off. And so, I mean, they're going to battle it out. Sonadara, no doubtably, has better tires. And, I mean, one thing about Dover, you can battle with older tires, but the biggest thing is you're going to hold the people behind you up, which could be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on where you are in the race. Sonadara gets it in too much, and that opens the door for Caleb Sibbett. Sibbett up from way back in the pack. I mean, we saw him battling just to get into the top 10 earlier in this race. He's actually in the top 3 now, as he is now looking for the move on Joshua Baker there.
Caleb Sibbett moving up. You see in the chat that his grandpa was a 20-year veteran, Richard Sibbett. So I think Caleb Sibbett said, I was up front earlier. You know what? I'm going to deploy some right foot on this gas pedal, and I'm going to get my way back up to the front as he puts down Mickey Sendera. And now working on Joshua Baker. Can he get P2 here? Is he going to throw it in deep and sell it cheap, or is he going to bide his time? We're going to find out as they come out of the corner and onto the straightaway. And just like that, Caleb Sibbett calls an audible. He's on the apron. He's getting loose, clearly intending to pit. Not quite the entrance he wanted, but he hits pit road. I believe Mickey Sendera also hit pit road right in front of him. So, Trevor, we're starting to see the shakeup. Starting to see guys making those calls here on, lap 116, 117. Who's going to stay out? How much are they going to lose? What do you have to gain? This is the time. You're making the money calls right now.
And you could see from Caleb Sibbett on his pit road entrance, I mean, it almost looked like he didn't mean to do it. He was entering the apron so fast. So the thing about a pit stop, you can pick up multiple seconds of on-track time just from a really good entrance to the pit road. And the thing is here, this track is very, very crucial for those pit stops because it's hard to get onto pit row. Pit row, going off memory, I want to say pit row speed is about 35 miles per hour. And so Black Flag just got word in on Vincent. Maybe he shouldn't, well, I would say maybe he shouldn't have been texting and driving, but, that's neither here nor there. But that really shows the pit row speed. It's really easy to go over that 35 miles an hour. I mean, we're just coming off, last time we were racing here in the HPRL was at Pocono, which, going off memory, that is a 45 mile. Jason Baker just got booted to the pits off of connection issue. As we can see, we do not have a camera for him. Wow, Joshua Baker back up to the lead now, as he's got a 4/10 lead on Mahone there. Caleb Sibbett works his way back out on track after a little bit slow of a pit stop because of that injury, but still a pretty good one. He's cycled back down to 11th, as we see Jason Baker come in for his pit stop very late on the brakes, got it down to pit row speed. Maybe I won't curse him there, but Mahone out to the lead. I know we've got a Mahone fan in the chat. Supposedly somebody got their money down on Mahone. Let's see how he does it as he's in the lead. I believe that Sperling goes around him to get his lap back there. You can see a little bit of damage from Sperling's truck. No doubtably he's pitted already. So, we're really starting to see the old tires versus the new tires, and you can see how much of a difference it makes because Sperling just went straight on by him, and it's not even been a full lap and there's already a great big huge lead. So really, how much are you gaining by staying on track here? You know, I mean, it really could work out. Actually, sorry, Sperling does not have damage. I just looked at his paint scheme wrong. But Joshua Baker, sorry, back out on track behind Sperling there. You know, Baker just got his pit stop.
Brett Mason getting loose coming out of the corner. We got a wreck and a caution is out. Oh boy, Trevor, if you just pit, what are you thinking right now?
Oh, I'd be hooting and hollering. I mean, I'm not even kidding. Oh, it just got loose off of that transition. Too much throttle, too little weight on the rear axle.
Watching him coming out, he made a pit stop, going to get around the leader. Oh, so hard. Working to get your lap back. Get loose.
And
Tough break.
I did see a little bit of contact there between him and I believe that was Mahone, actually. So maybe it wasn't a I just got loose case, you know. But very, very interesting turn of events. Mahone now going to get his fresh tires, and looking over to the chat, actually, I just got called out again. Pocono pit road speed is actually 55, not 45. So, golly, I need to up my game for these guys. You know, hey, I gotta double check my facts now. First was the trivia in which I called. Second one was another bit of trivia in which I just called. So, gotta step my I gotta step my game up, but. Lisa is Sperling's mom, says that she loves watching this racing. Glad to have you. Thank you. Caleb Sibbitt's grandpa, I believe Troy actually said this one, but thank you for your service. Caleb Sibbitt's grandpa was in for 20 years. His name is Richard Sibbitt, so thank you for your service. And actually, Hockley has Mahone. We're calling it now. So, hey, Hockley's got Mahone. We'll see how Mahone is able to finish this race. He's done pitted. I do believe everybody else pitted, considering he's still counted in the lead. So that'll be interesting coming back to the green flag.
Yeah, we'll see how everything sorts out here. Those that pitted right before the caution, those that just pit under that caution, we'll see who gets the wave around, where things cycle out. Going back to a little bit earlier, Jason Baker getting sent to the pits for connection issues. When you draw up different ways to lose a race, that's not one that you have in your playbook. It's not one that you can correct for. It's one of those things that happens. Maybe 2.5, 3 second lead. Maybe he just ran off the time clock in iRacing. We'll see if he can bounce back. Obviously, a lot of work to do, showing currently 1 lap down. We'll see where things stand as we go back to green flag. Jared Mahone, again, leading the field. Derek Grigsby, just been biding his time, now going to start P2 on this restart. Seth Owens been hanging around. Chris Griffin, shout-outs earlier for Chris Griffin. I expect to see those popping back up here in the chat not too shortly. Taylor Locklear, Steve Whitmore, Thaddeus Friel, Mickey Sendera, Caleb Sibbitt, Joshua Baker, Jesse Sperling, Emil Duna, Brett Vinson, Jason Baker, and Patrick Schaefer. Again, still in the pits from that hard wreck earlier. We're getting word that there's a black flag for Jesse Sperling. We will see where that puts him on this restart. Trevor, still a long ways to go, right? We still have over 70 laps to go in this race. As we get the green flag and head off into the corner, Jared Mahone leading the way.
One thing I will say, no, Sperling's got a penalty. He's the fast truck. I wouldn't expect this to be the complete end, assuming we have another caution. But, you know, on that speaking point, Joshua Baker, he's actually came back from a lap down, had the same issue in another race, and he came back and won the race. I do believe that was Bristol that he won that way. I mean, I'm probably going to get another chat saying that I'm wrong, but, I'm locking in Bristol. But he's came back from a lap down with internet issues, came back, got his lap back, passed everybody again, and was able to win that race. So, honestly, I'm not a betting man, but, I would bet. Oh, it was Darlington, sorry. I would bet that this is not the end that we're going to see to Joshua Baker, as he's actually passing people right now as I speak. So, I do think that he will be back in this fight.
Speaking of not the end, it's not the end of the day when you're running mid-pack in the middle of the race. Derek Grigsby now has the lead, Seth Owens in tow, Chris Griffin and Steve Whitmore. Different four up front, moving and shaking. Was the call to get them in this position the right one? Are they pushing too hard? We'll find out as this plays out. Chris Griffin gets a little bit loose with Steve Whitmore behind him, gathers it back up. Whitmore up to third. Behind them, Mickey Sendera working his way back up as well. Taylor Locklear hanging out, chilling. And then, you just talked about it, Trevor, Joshua Baker looking for a groove, goes to the low line. Gained a lot of speed on Mickey Sendera coming out of the corner. Ooh, it's getting tight up there. They play nice and live to fight another lap.
Seth Owens in the lead, as you were just saying. It is really tight at the front. I mean, that front pack is under a blanket. 2/10 to Whitmore, and then another 5/10 to Griffin. I mean, half a second does sound like a lot, but I would expect these top three to still stay relatively close as the laps start ticking on. As we're actually watching my fellow broadcaster, Thaddeus Friel there, battling with Taylor Locklear. He's actually under Taylor right now. Let's see if he's able to get it. Oh, he's got the drive off. He does have the drive off, but Thaddeus has still established his dominance there on the bottom. Coming through the corner, he's gotten a good little ways ahead. And this is what I was talking about earlier with the highlight. Create that momentum coming off the corner, but he was not able to generate enough momentum as Thaddeus actually is able to lock that down. And I do believe that's Caleb Sibbett following him through as well. So, Thaddeus Friel doing really good. He's up in 7th. Looking back, Jared Mahone, I know we've got a lot of talk on Jared Mahone.
Tight racing here as Thaddeus Friel catches up to Mickey Sendera. Thaddeus just got done sticking Taylor Locklear in the attic and shackling him up, and Caleb Sibbett followed him through, and he's continuing the drive as they head down the straightaway. Thaddeus looking outside of Mickey Sendera, now following Joshua Baker around. Derek Grigsby just ahead. A lot of tight battling here as we look in the middle of the pack. 4th, 5th, 6th, all in a hornet's nest as they battle it out. Mickey Sendera, now Caleb Sibbett going around to the outside. Everything's starting to heat up. It's almost like they can smell the end of the race, even though we still got 60-plus laps to go, Trevor.
That's still a long way to go with these trucks, but I mean, hey, they are battling it out. Maybe they said, you know what, this is the lap that I need to push. Like, maybe they hit their lap marker in their head, and so now it's time to push. So, we're seeing a lot of battling. We've got less than 2/10 between Steve Whitmore and Seth Owens battling for the lead, as I would expect to see Seth Owens. He's dipping his front nose away from the air to be able to get the momentum to get up there to that rear tailgate and look for a pass. I mean, you can't pass somebody just directly behind them. You have to go offline a little bit. And so that's what we're seeing right now. He's almost within striking distance, but not quite there. I mean, once you start turning these really high lap times and, really running really fast, it's hard to plan out a move sometimes. And so I think that's what we're seeing right now. But ironically, this could be helping out Steve Whitmore a little bit because he's not pushing his tires as much. But, a little bobble from him, so maybe I'm wrong. He's almost there. I mean, if he created a little bit of overspeed, which is the speed between you compared to the car in front of you or behind you, if you can create a little bit of extra momentum in situations like this, you can see a lot happen. Oh, as he does, Seth Owens got loose coming out of 4 there, and Steve Whitmore there on the bottom trying to get it stick. I mean,
Oh, Whitmore gets loose coming out of the corner. They're going to the dance, and nobody's taking the lead. They're just trying to fumble their way through, and that's going to allow Chris Griffin to close in. The top 3 still a big gap between them and 4th place. As they're slicing and dicing, Joshua Baker says, I want back. I know what it tasted like to be up front. I want back. He's kind of caught in the middle between that lead pack and the pack behind him. They're going to have to start to move and shake. Joshua Baker can see them. But Chris Griffin says, I want P2. I saw you guys bobble. I can get around here. He moves to the high side, Trevor, like you talked about. Everybody's searching now. Where can I go? Where can I gain an inch? I want some fresh air on my nose. I want to be able to turn. Please let my right rear tire hang on long enough to get to the front and then drive it home. Great battles as we look throughout the front pack, the mid pack, everybody pushing hard as we're approaching 50 laps to go here in a few laps.
and one thing I will say, one thing I've noticed from battling people, when you get into these really competitive races, those that are able to get out to the front early, when everyone around you is running about the same lap time, saving about the same amount of tire, is really beneficial to go ahead and get out front of them when you can. You maybe burn up a little extra tire than you may be wanting to, but if you're running the same lap time anyways and saving about the same amount of grip anyways, it's really beneficial because it's harder to make an overtake on older tires. You're not able to get down to that other line quite as effectively and make it work like you would on new tires. And so one thing that I've found, if you can get out to the front, start leading a race, and you know, once the laps start ticking down, it's harder for those to pass you, so it's easier to defend for the lead there as it comes down to the end. And looking over at the timing and scoring, it appears that Whitmore and Seth Owens are battling it out for a possible lead change here. Steve Whitmore there on the bottom, I mean, he's giving Owens a run for his money. I mean, we just saw this a couple laps ago where both of them bobbled coming out of 2, but it appears that Whitmore, he gave a slight bobble but was able to cut the nose off of Seth Owens and retake the lead there on the backstretch. We'll see if he's able to hold on to it. He's trying to claim as much momentum as possible. He's running slightly higher line saying, hey, you can have the bottom, but I want this top because I can generate more speed than you. But it appears that I was wrong. Seth Owens was able to slide under him and get that lead back. So they're adamantly fighting for this lead. Maybe they're saying, hey, if I don't pass him now, I never will. So maybe that thought's running through their head, and so they're trying to battle it out for the lead, possibly to win here.
Seth Owens said, hey, I can be in the chat too. I'm going to prove Trevor Dyer wrong, and I'm going to go right back around Steve Whitmore, ring it up, put Seth Owens back in the lead. Steve Whitmore second. Chris Griffin running third. Joshua Baker fourth. Derek Grigsby fifth. Thaddeus Friel running sixth. That's the battle we were watching a few laps ago when Trevor was talking. And you start to see the field is starting to compact back at the front end now. Those leaders, that gap is starting to shrink a little bit. Derek Grigsby looking underneath Joshua Baker. He says, it's go time. I had Thaddeus breathing all over my neck, and it wasn't comfortable. I need to get away from that man right now, and I need to move to the front. He restarted up front, dropped back a little bit. Now he's starting to dial his way back in. Who saved their tires? Who's going to push? Who wore it out? You got kind of a big gap between those top 6 or so and then the rest of the field as Grigsby once again looking underneath Joshua Baker. Thaddeus Friel sitting behind him going, who am I going to follow through? Who am I going to save tires and push my way around? There you go. Grigsby takes the spot away from Baker. Grigsby up to 4th. Baker back to 5th. Friel in tow in 6th.
And as they're battling it out on track, looking back over to the comment section, and a bit of a sad note here. Unfortunately, Jesse Sperling's dad passed away at the age of 41 So I'm sorry for your loss, Miss Lisa, and I'm sorry to Jesse Sperling. But looking back over again, Lori Vickers asked what was the penalty for Jesse Sperling, and I do believe, I mean, it was a 40-second hold. If I had to guess, that could be, some kind of admin issued violation, or it could be something like speeding in the pits, unsafe entry. It could be a lot of things, but whatever the case was, Jesse Sperling did receive either a 30 or 40-second hold to serve under green in the pits. So tough break for him. And again, Lori missed the first 80 laps, but we thank you for watching these races. And this has been a ripe one here, as we can see Thaddeus battling it out in 5th place. He's broke into the top 5 as I've been going on my side tangent here. Love you guys in the comments, but he's actually looking ahead at Chris Griffin. I mean, he's only got a small gap to Chris Griffin there in the 12. As I say that, Jared Mahone actually pops out of line and is trying to take that position from Thaddeus Friel. Joshua
Baker in pit road. Word is there might be a black flag for speeding. We'll wait to see how that plays out. So we'll reset here as we start to get some pit stops. Seth Owens, your current leader. Steve Whitmore in 2nd. Derek Grigsby in 3rd. Chris Griffin in 4th. Thaddeus Friel in 5th. We go back. Now Thaddeus Friel getting passed by Jared Mahone. Jared Mahone P5. Thaddeus Friel in 6th. Taylor Locklear 7th. Mickey Sendera in 8th. Joshua Baker 9th. Again, in the pit road, we'll see how he pans out, if there is a penalty indeed or not. Emil Duna in 10th. Caleb Sibbett in 11th. Jesse Sperling in 12th. Brett Vinson in 13th. Jason Baker in 14th. And Patrick Schaefer, again, out of the race from that incident earlier on. As we continue to watch up front, Seth Owens, now Derek Grigsby in 2nd. He got through Steve Whitmore as we were going through the rundown. Did he save some tire there? Did he fall back? Is he going to reel in Seth Owens? Seth Owens still pushing hard. You can see the gap between 3rd and 4th there as we have a big pack looking in 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th area, including some guys that are maybe thinking about strategy calls from here on out. But Seth Owens with Derek Grigsby in tow, lap 161 here at Dover.
And one thing to watch out for, Mahone, as I was just speaking, moved up into 4th place. Now, actually someone in the comments actually calling this out for me. At one point, he was 0.3 faster per lap than the leaders. So we saw him at the beginning of this stage, or at the beginning of this caution run. He immediately dropped back towards the back of the pack. I think at one point the only people behind him were people that were laps down. So he's saved all this tire, and it's starting to come. And this is what I've been talking about. It's coming back on the back end. So
speaking of the back end, Derek Grigsby went from the back end of Seth Owens to the inside. Caleb Sibbett trying to work around to get his lap back. Going to get between them. Battle for the lead shaping up, Trevor, as we talk about saving that tire.
So Mahomes down under a 2-second gap between him and Whitmore. So I'd expect to see here in a few laps, as you can see, he's got inherent pace on these leaders to be able to see if he's able to get back up into the top 3, top 5. We will see how that shakes out. As we see Derek Grigsby underneath Seth Owens for that lead right now. I mean, Seth Owens has maintained this lead for a lot of this stage here, but Grigsby actually out ahead just a little bit, but Seth Owens able to maintain that momentum, get a little bit of overspeed there on the top line, and he's making it work. Now, one thing I will say about that top line, I've said this earlier, ripping the high line is going to burn a little bit more tire because you're putting a lot more stress on that rear right tire to get back on throttle so that you can generate that overspeed. But as I was talking, Derek Grigsby is actually doing that same thing. He's running offline, getting some clean air on that nose, and he's able to generate some overspeed. See if he can get another move. I mean, it's under a tenth here. I mean, you couldn't put a piece of paper between them at some points. They're battling
Look back to third place, Trevor. Look back to third place. Here comes Jared Mahone underneath Steve Whitmore. Mickey Sundera hanging out underneath there. We've got a new third place car. It's Jared Mahone as he's rolling around, dialing in those leaders. Here we go, shaping up, saving tires, closing the gap. You said 0.3 faster earlier. We'll continue to watch as Steve Whitmore follows in his tire tracks. This is going to be a good finish. 32 laps to go. Should be coming to 31 laps to go here in this 200-lap event at Dover.
This last lap, Mahone was actually half a second faster than those ahead of him. So, I mean, that's incredible pace here later on in this race. Now, we've seen Seth Owens been battling a lot for that lead, trying to keep that lead. He's worked his way back down to second now. And you can see Mahone coming into the frame there. He's not that far behind. I mean, I'm sure Seth Owens is looking in that rearview mirror and seeing Mahone coming and being like, man, how am I going to combat this? Because it's hard to fight a battle with somebody that's half a second faster than you. So, I mean, Mahone has plenty of time. 30 laps left in this race, plenty of time to get back up there to that lead and clinch this win, as a lot of people have been in his side of the ring trying to support that. So we'll see how it shakes out. I mean, under a second now, it's 2 second place. You know, Mahomes been real strong here late in this race, so we'll see if he's able to get her done.
As we watch some squirreliness coming out of the corner, Mahone been dialing them back in. Great shots from our producer, Skyler. Look at the top three there, just tearing away. Grigsby got a little bit of a gap down. Mahone working on Seth Owens. You watch them, they've been switching up their lines, right? They've been running below. As soon as the guy in front of them sees that goes low, they switch high. That's how they're playing with that clean air like you were talking about, Trevor. Trying to set each other up. Not be so predictable that the guy in front of them knows where they can block them. Aero block, physically block, as Mahone underneath Seth Owens. Seth Owens going to have the drive on the high side, but Mahone, little bit harder, drives it in. Chris Griffin following him through on the bottom side as well. Mahone up to second. Chris Griffin fighting his way around, trying to fight to get some laps back. Lap 173, Seth Owens behind Mahone. They let Griffin go on the low side. Steve Whitmore still in tow as well. Grigsby over a second lead right now. Can Jared Mahone dial that back in? We saw him close over a second gap before to the lead two. Can he dial that back in as we wrap up lap 174 here at Dover?
I mean, he's closed a second gap in a matter of a couple laps, just a few laps ago. He's got his work cut out for him again. He's already in second place, but I mean, 8/10 gap on Derek Grigsby, I mean, that can be cut down pretty well. So we'll see how he's able to do it. But I mean, 25 laps left in the race, still got plenty of time. He's just got to maintain that same line that he's been running all race. And as you look to his cockpit, you can actually tell this is the same line that I've been seeing him run all race. He's just wrapping the bottom, trying to save as much tire as possible, come out of the corner, generate some good speed for the straightaways. And the key part is you can look with how smooth his driving is. He's not hurting the truck. And that is the most important thing to his strategy call, is the fact that he's not been hurting this truck this entire race. Meanwhile, others, you know, they may be slightly overdriving the truck, and what that's going to do is now as the back end is starting to hurt them. And you can see under half a second, more like 4/10, Mahone onto the bumper. He's getting close. You saw Jesse Sperling coming, getting a lap back from Grigsby. He's still a couple laps down, or I'd say about 7 6 or 7 laps down, that is. Mahone 4/10 back, almost 3.
As
3/10
we're rolling,
behind.
yeah, as we're rolling on here, Derek Grigsby, we saw Mahone. The gap was a second. Then it was 0.8, 0.6, half a second. Now under 0.3 of a second. Mahone wrapping the bottom line. He's got that clean air as well. Grigsby's been running the higher line like Trevor's been talking about, while Mahone consistently wrapping that bottom line. Again, right around 3, almost down to 2 turns. Climbs up a little bit on the corner exit. Mahone timing each lap with Grigsby. The two of them well clear with Seth Owens at this point in time. With 20 laps to go, coming to 20 laps to go, these two trucks are going to battle it out to see who will hold the monster. Grigsby still leading Mahone down the backstretch. You can see each lap dialing it in, sizing each other up. Meanwhile, almost a 3-second gap out the back to Seth Owens. These two mano a mano as we go into the last 20 laps. The last 10% of the race, they fought so hard to get to this place. They survived some early cautions. The tires, you know the tires are screaming, Trevor. But Mahone's now dialed in less than 0.2 of a second as they head into the corner. He continues to press on Grigsby. When does he try to make the move? When does he go for it?
I mean, it's very close now. He's still wrapping that bottom. He's, still maintaining his line. But as it gets down to about, I'd say about 10th is around the overtaking range. A 10th or less is about the overtaking range where you need to start altering your line to generate that overspeed, if at all. I mean, there is a good chance that he is able to just stick a nose in there because Grigsby's been running slightly higher. So we'll see how that shakes up. I mean, Mahone's playing nice. He's got about 0.2 separating him and Grigsby. So he's not going for a stupid move. And see, this is the most crucial part of this. He knows that the tires are bad on both his truck and Grigsby's. I mean, they're both hurting. And so one thing that could really kill his race right now is him going for kind of a far move that could end both of their races. But actually looking back, battle for, I believe that's third, between Steve Whitmore and Seth Owens there, as I believe that's Sonadara goes around them both. They're under a blanket themselves, battling for the last podium position. So this is going to be close. Taylor Locklear looking down, almost trying to slot up into 4th place there, and I believe he does it. He gets the gap, slides up, and Steve Whitmore just concedes, goes back down to the bottom. There's no sense in fighting a lost battle there. And so Taylor Locklear actually up and able to challenge Seth Owens, who's led so many of these laps.
A lot of late race moving going on, like you said, Trevor. Seth Owens now has Taylor Locklear looking at him, but meanwhile, out front, the gap is almost down to a 10th between Derek Grigsby and Jared Mahone. Getting down to, coming to 12 to go, that gap, under 0.2 of a second. Been hovering around the 2 to 3/10. Now, Mahone starting to put a little bit more pressure on. He's been wrapping the bottom. You see him look up high. Has he saved the tire? You said that high side eats up the tire a little bit. Maybe he conserved enough. He can go wherever he wants with that truck now. Just under 0.2 of a second. Continue to separate them as the laps wind down here at Dover. He looks low, looks underneath Grigsby. He's going to cross back up high, get that momentum, tucks in behind him as they head down the straightaway. The two trucks, nose to tail. Again, Mahone back to the bottom this time, wraps that bottom. Still just over 0.1 of a second between the two of them. He's starting to close the gap. He's starting to put the pressure on the deck lid. As we're approaching 10 to go, these two are going to decide who owns Miles.
And I mean, Mahone, he's stepping out of line. I'm sure he saved enough tire. Oh, as he generates overspeed mid-corner, I mean, you can tell he's definitely looking for that move. He is 100%. He's got to be hustling his truck now. I mean, we're less than 10 to go. He's got nothing but time given his position, but the time is starting to run out. There is a set number of laps that he has to make this pass happen. So, you know, he's starting to feel the pressure, and so he's got to make something happen as they both go around. I believe that was Joshua Baker who was getting lapped for the sixth
Mahone looking
time.
down low, coming through the corner. Mahone underneath Grigsby as they come out of the corner side by side, heading down the straightaway. Mahone still shading Grigsby down low. Grigsby carrying the speed on that high side as they go around the corner. Look at them go as they go side by side. Mahone slightly ahead. Grigsby back in front. They say there's no sales tax in Dover. I want to buy this thing right now and go to the front. Grigsby continuing to hold off Mahone.
A beautiful defense from Grigsby as Mahone actually goes inside again, and he's able to dive it in there enough. Is it going to be enough as Grigsby goes for the crossover? Mahone actually slid in front of him. He's got the lead as of right now. Is Grigsby going to be able to mount a comeback? We will see, as there's already a 3/10 gap between them. Grigsby was able to defend very well for a few laps, but unfortunately just did not have enough tire on his truck as he goes back to the high line trying to make something happen there on the entry at least. But Mahone able to get that gap and drive away. I just got word in though, Steve Whitmore just got a meatball from damage. We're looking at the replay.
Looks like he cut a tire. Tire instantaneous meatball here in iRacing. What an unfortunate situation. Meanwhile, Jared Mahone running up front. Under 5 laps to go. We just saw the pass. Great battle between him and Derek Grigsby, but he said, I'm done. I'm going to cash this in. It takes 2 hours to drive north to south in Delaware. I want to wrap this thing up a lot faster than that. I'm going to go to the front and push the pace. As we're going to come to 4 laps to go, Jared Mahone, Derek Grigsby, Taylor Locklear, Thaddeus Friel, Mickey Sundera, Caleb Sibbett, Chris Griffin, Steve Whitmore, Abel Duda just passed Steve Whitmore, Seth Owens, Joshua Baker, Jesse Sperling, Brett Vinson, Jason Baker, and Patrick Schaefer. Jared Mahone leads the field in the waning laps here at Dover.
And looking over at timing and scoring, it is interesting to say that only 4 people in this race are remaining on the lead lap. I mean, we saw a lot of people able to battle for that lead. A lot of people have been in the lead, but only 4 people remain on this lead lap. I mean, we just saw Steve Whitmore cut a tire. We saw Seth Owens had to go in probably for a very similar instance. I mean, it's very hard at a concrete track like this to save enough tire just to make it to the end. And so, I mean, you can really see it with the amount of people still left on this lead lap. So, very huge accomplishment just to finish on the lead lap at a track like this.
As Jared Mahone comes around, takes the white flag for the final lap here at Dover. Here he goes through 1 and 2. Everybody saw those trucks cut tires. They're going to try to nurse around one more time. Jared Mahone, we've said it before, we'll say it again, Mr. Consistent. Completed all but 2 laps this season as he comes through 3 and 4 and comes onto the straightaway. He's going to cross the stripe once again. Jared Mahone, your winner here at Dover.
And wow, what a monumental drive. I mean, it takes guts and a lot of trust within yourself to allow yourself early on. You know it's going to be a lot of laps. You know it's going to be very hard for tire wear. But just the maturity and confidence to very early on just go ahead and say, forget it, let himself drop back and run his own race so that he can come back and achieve something as monumental as this.
and he still has enough tire left to burn it down on the straightaway. Once again, Jared Mahone, your winner. We'll go through the finishing order here in just a moment, but I believe I saw the stat while we were running, and I'm sure those of you at home saw this as well. I think a lot of those leaders last pit on lap 127, if I remember the number correctly. That means that they went 73 laps on that last set of tires. So not a surprise, Trevor, that some of those tires gave out on a few of those trucks, but what a great run for those top 4 finishers that stayed on the lead lap, nursing those tires, being patient, not pressing too early when those leads got out there. But like you said, what a monumental run here at Dover for Jared.
And I mean, I honestly can't even believe that he had enough tire to burn it down there at the end. I mean, we saw multiple people cut a tire. I myself have cut a tire here. I mean, it's just hard to do and amazing to watch. This has been a really good race. As we actually see, I believe that is Hockley in the chat, talking about how fun the race was to watch and wishing that they could have raced it. Said Dover's in their top 2 favorite tracks. So have a differing opinion on that, but shout out to him as we're getting ready to interview these top 3.
All right. Well, I'm sure we would love to do this all over again because it was such an exciting race. We're not going to go through the starting grid. In just a second here, we're going to go through the finishing order. But while we pull that up, again, what a very exciting race. We want to thank everybody for tuning in, all those that gave shout outs to our service members. But after 200 laps here at Dover, we'll run through the finishing order. Again, Jared Mahone first, Derek Grigsby second. Such a great battle between the two of them down the stretch. Taylor Locklear really holding it out. Thaddeus Broadcast Friel, early trouble, fought all the way back to P4. Again, top 4 are on the lead lap. And rounding out the top 5, Mickey Sundera.
Looking back to 6, we have Caleb Sibbett there finishing a lap down. And then the 12 of Chris Griffin in 7th. 8th is going to be Emil Duna. 9th is going to be Steve Whitmore. And 10th, Seth Owens.
As we look at the rest of the field, 11th, Joshua Baker, really strong run early, some fading later on. 12th, Jesse Sperling. 13th, Brett Vinson. No texting and driving, Brett. That'll fix that in the future. 14th, Jason Baker. Again, very strong early on. Had some connection issues. Very unfortunate situation for Jason. And then 15th, Patrick Schaefer. Again, with a little bit of unfortunate luck midway through the race. But that is your finishing order here at Dover. And stay tuned. We're going to bring our top 3 finishers into the booth. All right. First, we want to talk to our 3rd place finisher, Taylor Locklear. Taylor, great run this evening. What was the key to making it all 200 laps here at Dover?
Just tire wear. We had to you had to try to play. We had some weird, runs. Like the length of the run was a little odd tonight. We had a long run at the end, and you had to try to figure out when the best time to go is. And I think a couple people had a fuel issues or what didn't quite make it. It wasn't the case for me, but tire wear. That was the key to the night.
Well, obviously it worked out for you, Taylor. You were there, brought it home P3. A lot of battles, kind of mid-pack. I know it's got to be hard to sit back and quote unquote save when you watch guys pull out in front. But as you saw, there were some guys that started to have fuel issues, like you said, some tire issues there in the waning laps. Were you worried about your tires giving out, or did you feel pretty confident that you had enough to make it to the end?
Oh, I was confident with the tires. I knew the gas was good from the start of the that last restart. I knew I would be fine on gas. I'm just a little angry that Jared decided to go before I did.
Yeah, timing's all right. Trevor, anything you wanted to ask or talk to Taylor about?
So coming into the late laps here, I would really like to ask what were your key strategies, and overall, what was you fighting the most as the tires wore to get there to the end. I mean, obviously you said you weren't that worried about tires, but I mean it's still a huge factor on that truck, even with quote unquote good tires, but they're still a bit old. What what did you have to do to achieve this?
So early in the first stage, I learned that if you wrap the bottom, it doesn't work out well later. So the higher you enter on the corner, the better off you're going to be later on. So I worked on that in stage 2 and 3, and that allowed that high entry and then straight off exit was helping me a lot. And then just kind of not battling people when they wanted to go, and don't just kind of just tire management. That's something I try to take pride in. And it is very difficult to be patient and watch these people that you're going to pass in 20 laps. It's just go right by you. And but yep, that's how I made it. Just learning in stage 1. If you guys saw, I was in dead last, just trying to figure it out and see what was going to work. So it worked out. Good run. I love Dover.
Top 3 finish. I think there's a lot to love there. Taylor, we want to give you an opportunity to do any shout outs you want to friends, family, sponsor plugs. The stage is yours, sir.
Yeah, I've got a couple family members that will love the channel and watch my races. So shout out to those guys.
Awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, your third place finisher this evening at Dover, Taylor Locklear. We're going to bring in our second place finisher this evening, Derek Grigsby, bringing it home P2 this evening. Derek, a heck of a battle there down the stretch between you and Jared. What were you thinking in those last laps as the two of you had really gapped the rest of the field?
Yeah, I knew he'd saved a little bit more tire than me and he was faster, but I just kept trying to put dirty air on his nose and hope that was going to hold him back. But it got a little too tight and he got a good run on me. But yeah, that was a ton of fun.
Yeah, well, you guys put on a heck of a show. I know early in the race you were spending a lot of time kind of mid-pack, flirting with the top 5. Were you just biding your time, feeling things out? Did you know that you were going to make a run later? What was your thoughts in the mid stages of this race?
I got in here to practice about 6 minutes before the qualifying started. So I started the beginning of the race kind of trying to figure it out and get a feel for what it felt like in traffic. And then after that, I was really just trying to set myself up for long runs because we had run so clean. I kind of figured it was going to come down to a long run.
Well, I think it worked out for you, Derek. That was a great run. Trevor, anything for Derek from your side?
So, by the way, very adaptable driver to be only 6 minutes of practice and come home P2. So, I mean, awesome run from you. I've got to ask, you said that you were battling there at the end with Mahone, and there were less than 10 laps to go when he finally passed you. Were you maybe did you have it in your mind, maybe I can hold him up enough just to make it to the finish? Or what taught me through the emotions there?
I mean, I knew he was faster, and I knew we had I think when he got close to me, there was probably 19, 18 laps left, and honestly, I didn't know about the end. I was just kind of taking it one lap at a time, just try to put dirty air on his nose and see if I can hold him off for this lap, and then just do it all over. I didn't really want to look too far ahead. It was just kind of take it one lap by one lap and see if you can dirty air him enough to keep him back there. But ultimately, he had just saved a little bit more tire. But I'm thankful for him because that was super clean racing. We never touched each other. A lot of fun, and couldn't ask for a better race there.
Yeah, Derek, I think we can all agree that was one heck of a show you guys put on. But most importantly, we want to give you an opportunity here to do any shout outs, friends, family, sponsors. The stage is yours, sir.
Yeah, so finally got one of these races where I run good running my buddy's old money cards truck. He's got a break going on this weekend. You can find him on Whatnot. Um, Not sure what he's breaking. I know it's a NASCAR box. I'm not sure what year. And of course, he's got his eBay store too. And I mean, he's got autograph cards, relic cards, cards that are low numbered. I mean, he's got stuff that's in the 1 of 5 category. So he's got some really awesome stuff. Everybody check him out and try to get in on his break this weekend.
Awesome. Well, congratulations again, ladies and gentlemen. That's your P2 finisher, Derek Grigsby. Maybe we can get his sponsor to start doing some HPRL cards here in the near future. With that, we're going to go ahead and bring in this evening's winner, none other than Mr. Consistent, Jared Mahone. Jared, congratulations on the victory this evening.
Thanks, guys. Wasn't really expected. Dover's not my strong suit, but weird strategies tonight, and luckily the one I picked, I was kind of a toss-up what I was gonna do, and when everybody else started running at that last stage and putting the heat in, I decided I'll be the one that lays back and try something else.
Yeah, it was very interesting, Jared. We noticed that and we called that throughout. Just so you know, everybody in the chat basically was predicting you like with halfway to go still. So I don't think you surprised anybody except for maybe yourself. But the battle that you and Derek were putting on there at the end, those last 20 laps or so, was a heck of a run. What were you thinking when you were sitting behind Derek and sizing him up?
Oh man, that was a absolute blast. Like, thanks on Derek for running me clean. We'd gotten in, I'd put him 3 wide earlier in the race, and he was all cool about it, and said that was a sick pass, and uh after that I knew I didn't want to put a bumper to him or, run him up the track or anything. I would have been happy with second. So I just wanted to make sure I ran him clean, but it's always a blast when you can run hard next to somebody door to door, and Derek was throwing it down for sure. He was doing really good, putting dirty air on me. Kind of starting high, so I couldn't, take the outside, cutting down late in the corners to put dirty air on me and getting tight. So I was searching around, trying to go almost in a third lane and do a really high cut down, and yeah, I mean, it was a blast. Like, he kind of overdrove into one and let me get on the inside a little bit, and from there, I kind of just had to descend into three and slide him if I wanted to get the lead. And I was pretty confident if I could get around him, he wouldn't be able to pass me because it's a hard track to pass, especially on old tires. But I wasn't sure if I was going to get around him or not. He was quick and he was good.
Yeah, you guys put have a battle again. It was great to watch. You know, Jared, with 2 laps to go, there's a couple things going on. One, you guys caught Joshua Baker a lap truck, and then also some guys started falling off with maybe some shortage of fuel, some blown tires. I don't know if you know this or not. You had 73 laps on that last stint. What was going through your head as far as tire wear and everything else going on the track as you guys were sizing up that great battle?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't worried about fuel. I don't know if people were like driving in deep and braking. I don't know. My tire saving strategy was, kind of based off a really early lift. So I mean, I probably had 3 or 4 laps to the good. So fuel, I wasn't really concerned about. But at the start of the run, I mean, I think the beginning of the third stage, I started in first, and within like 3 or 4 laps, I was last person on the lead lap. So it was a little hard to not get baited into pushing the car hard early on. But I knew I had a long run ahead of me, and if I used them up at the beginning, I wasn't going to be able to make it at the end. Or if I was going to be so slow that it wouldn't matter. Um, so I just had to be disciplined there at the beginning and just let everybody pass me and hope that they either pitted or wore their tires out or something. But I just felt like I was trying to run a consistent lap, not too slow, but enough where I'd have a little bit of tire at the end. I think I wore the right front down to like 47. So, I mean, it was right at the limit. So there wasn't many more laps I could give, especially if I was going to be battling Derek for him.
Awesome. Trevor.
So Jared, you actually took my question away and answered it for me there about the beginning where you actually dropped back to the tail person on the lead lap. But like to ask, I'm sure that that was very hard, as a racer at heart, just letting people go and, you've got that. But when you started coming back through the field later on, once the tire wear started hitting, at what point did you realize I have something for this race? Like, I'm sure there was a aha moment where you were like, okay, I'm still in this, and I'm going to go up there and push for this. And then also talk us through, the emotions of that as well.
Yeah, like I thought I had, no matter what happened, unless I really blew strategy, because it was, like I said, it was a toss up between two stopping or one stopping, and I felt like you go like 2 laps down if you pit. So I was just kind of like, if they two stop, I shouldn't really have to worry about them at all, unless I'm miscalculating really bad, which could have happened, but uh, looks like that's kind of how it played out. If you pit, you were still like you could only make out about a lap. So at the beginning of the stage, I fell back to the end, but people weren't really pulling away. After 4 laps, I kind of just settled in and just kind of kept the same distance while I was running, pretty hard save mode. And it looked like people in front of me were racing each other and running pretty hard. So I was pretty confident I could get like a top 5. I didn't think I really could know if I could, challenge for the win till, I don't know, probably 40 or 40 or so to go once everybody started pitting, and I just saw how like people were just backing up to me so fast. So I knew there was a couple times I had to make some aggressive moves to get around guys so I didn't get, held up too long. But yeah, it was really hard at the beginning though. I don't like I don't think my short run speed is normally that great compared to a lot of the other guys in this room. A lot of people have a lot of speed, but I think I do well compared to a lot of people on the long run. So I'm always hoping it goes green. Um, so yeah, it was good that it went green today because I could have got, if caution came out before people pit that were two stopping, that kind of would have screwed my strategy, and I would have just been stuck, in 10th on the same tires that everybody else was on. So luckily it went green.
Well, great run, Jared. And speaking of the field backing up to you, it's time for us to back up out of your way and turn the mic over to you to give your shout outs to friends, sponsors, family members, whatever you want. The floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, just thanks you guys for broadcasting. Thanks Tuna for running the series and let me toy around on Thursdays. Thanks to Derek and the guys up front that ran me clean. And thanks for my wife for putting up with all my shit. So
All right, ladies and gentlemen, again, there's your winner from the Dover 200, Jared Mahone.
And I am back in the booth. That was quite a rough one. But no, it was a great night of racing. So here at the Monster Mile, Dover delivered exactly what it promised. Hard racing, some hurt feelings. I apologize to anybody that I got into tonight. Bent fenders, drivers hanging onto these trucks like their lives depended on it. On behalf of Trevor Dyer, who's still somehow finding ways to mention 6-7, Troy Sandy with the analytics, and our producer Skylar Daly behind the scenes, we want to thank all of you for spending your night with us here at Van in the HPRL Truck Series. Congratulations to tonight's winner for conquering one of the toughest tracks on the schedule, but no surprise, it's Jared Mahone. For everybody in the booth, I'm Thaddeus Friel saying goodnight from Dover Motor Speedway, where the walls are close, the racing is ruthless, and the Monster Mile always gets the final word. We'll see you guys next week.
In silence, I dwell, a ghost beneath the skin. Eyes burned by truth, I bury deep within the ash of my